Blinking my eyes open, the warmth beside me nearly lulls me back into my dreamless slumber. But when my gaze briefly flickers up for a moment, I'm met with crimson eyes observing, wide awake. "You're awake?" I wondered, voice groggy as I gently push off his chest, sitting up a bit more and only realizing that I'd been shimmered by the way onto his lap during our battle sleep last night. "Good morning," he replies, a sheepish grin spreading across his features. I deadpanned, hands resting gently against his heated chest as I stare at the soldier. And from a moment he clears his throat, crimson eyes flickering down at my hands before I blink, swiftly pulling off of him with a worried look crossing my features. "Oh, sorry, Age. It's okay," he laughs lightly, both our faces burning as I move off to stand, his tall stature following me up from his feet as well. I'm brushing off extra dirt that had found its way onto my attire. When I turn, seeing Kirishima's back turned to me as he stretches, hands high in the air with the morning sun peeking through the front of the cave, I am able to see the tone of his muscles across his back, little pops causing him to sigh in relief before his hands fall back to his sides. And once he is done, he trots off towards the entrance, glancing over his shoulder in a way to ask if I was following. Of course, I blinked out of my admiration state, hurriedly trailing to the redhead, and when I come to stand at his side, he's glancing out into the forest. "Okay, looks like we're good to go," he comments, tilting his head to look at me while I nod. His hands find mine, and he gently tugs me out into the warm sunlight. Birds chirp quietly throughout the forest, the trees hiding us as we walk through. The light crunch of grass meets my ears. And it isn't until a few minutes later that I decide to erupt the peaceful silence that had surrounded us. "Where are we going?" I wonder, tilting my head to glance up at him. His crimson gaze locks onto me for a moment, a smile tied with sharp teeth dancing across his face as he gives my hand a gentle squeeze, a reassuring gesture. "I know we can't go back to your homeland, and it's not going to be safe to stay here, so I'm going to take you back to the realm He pauses as boasting, a slight sense of realization dawning his features before he shakes his head. I'm just really familiar with it and know it'll be safe until we can find you a home," he explains, finishing off his previous statement and turning to look forward again. I pause in my step, staring at Kirishima's averted gaze with curiosity in my eyes. "Is there something wrong, Edge?" I question. His eyes flicker back towards me, a nervous smile spreading over his features as he gently shakes his head. No, everything's fine, my lady," he replies, causing my eyes to widen slightly. "Didn't I tell you to call me Yin?" I ask, playfully raising a brow towards the crimson soldier and causing him to smile sheepishly, muttering out a short sorry in response. I smile at that, happy to see his nerves slowly melt away as we venture further into the forest, growing further and further from the castle. It wasn't until a little later that a low grumble escapes my stomach, alerting me that I hadn't eaten anything since yesterday. I glance upwards, meeting crimson eyes that had already been trained on me with concern flooding his features. "Crap, you're hungry," he states, coming to a swift stop. I smile sheepishly, nodding towards his words before pointing at the redhead with my free hand. "Aren't you hungry too?" I wondered worriedly, and he only shrugs. After a second, he glances around, quickly leading me over towards a tree while spewing apologies. "Here, just sit down and rest. I'll find you something to eat, okay?" he says. "Wait, what about—" Of course. Before I can ask him about if he was, he let go of my hand and backed up, hollering he'll be right back as he bolted off into the woods once more. I deadpanned at the sight, letting a sigh fall past my lips before I flopped down to let my back rest against the tree he had left me by. The sun is warm against my skin, small rays flittering through the gaps of the leaves above and casting onto my resting figure as I looked around, taking in the forest like I had before. Everything still didn't feel too real to me, and when a butterfly seems to come fluttering past my eyes, wide in astonishment, staring towards the orange and black design crossing the wings of it neared. It's oddly reminded me of how real this all when a small insect lands on my forearm, opening and closing its wings as it rested as well. I've seen this one before, but only in books from within the castle. My castle. I paused, thinking back to the place I had grown up in. I would have never been able to feel or see a creature like this from within the walls of that place, and thanks to this odd predicament I've caught myself in, I'm weirdly okay. There's a sense of curiosity washing over my being, a feeling of warmth and excitement for a question of what is to come. And I'm glad Kirishima would be there to help me explore this wonderful new world. The world beyond the suffocating stone walls of my castle. This time, without the worry of others finding out or catching us. A new freedom. And as the butterfly flaps its wings, finally taking flight again and flickering off into the forest, I sense a deja vu, my mind bringing me back to a moment those gates open, and I was escorted out in a carriage made of only the finest materials. Funny that when I've lost everything, I'm okay. But I have no more time to dwell on the past. The memories of the castle seemingly gray compared to the lush green I sat myself on, waiting for the rogue soldier who saved my life yesterday to return. Twigs snapped to my right, a smile presenting itself upon my face as I glanced back to the warming sun perching light through the trees above. A few birds fly over my head, and the sound of my soldier approaching slowly growing near, louder. There you are, Red. I beam, sighing gently as I close my eyes. I was scared you just up and left me for a moment. I sarcastically joked, but earned no laugh or reply. I paused at that, brows furrowing slightly, when I tilted my head to glance in the direction I heard the Crimson Soldier. You were being awfully quiet. My words die in my throat. When I turned, I didn't see my smiling savior. Instead, the peak brain and dilated, protruding eyes of a large Nomu meets my gaze, staring slightly from its standing position a few feet away from me. The sound of sick snapping weren't from someone stepping on it. Its head is high into the trees, leaves fluttering to the ground when it moves forward, immediately snapping both twigs and me out of my shocked, frozen state. My back falls from its rested position against the tree, allowing me to scramble up and crawl back while keeping my eyes on the horrifying creature. With my hands on the floor, I tried to take this moment to activate my quirk, but nothing happens when I blink. No future vision. My breath hitches when it steps through the bush, oddly slow, as if stalking its prey before its arm reaches out. Sharp teeth open a constant pent, while its black eyes kept on me. A grumble drawls from its throat, dark and out of tune with the rest of the peaceful forest surrounding it. Kirishima. I manage to stutter out before it lunges forward at alarming speed. A shout overtakes my words as I roll to the side, the creature instead knocking down the tree behind me while I throw myself to my feet, dragging my heel across the grass before bolting off. I'm not sure which direction I had ran in. I don't care. The thing behind me wasted no time in taking chase, its thunderous steps sounding close as I dashed through the thicket. Eijiro! I screamed, ducking underneath a branch and taking a sharp turn, my body immediately ramming into and knocking over the very soldier I was calling for. I landed on top of him. The barreling sound of the Nomu smashing through a nearby tree alerted me. It had failed to make the same quick turn due to its size. Yin? Kirishima's voice meets my ears, a mix of both shock and pain and confusion in his words as I turned my attention to him. What happened? There's a Nomu! I shouted, informing him of the anger and causing his eyes to widen slightly. And as if on cue, the creature comes dashing through the thicket, swiftly approaching us from behind. Get down! The redhead yells, quickly grabbing the arm I had planted on his chest to stop myself from falling forward and yanking me to the side, the both of us rolling over as he was leaning over me. And with a short stun of deja vu, dirt and grass fly within the air, the Nomu hit profoundly, slamming what I assumed to be his fist into Kirishima's back. With a sigh of relief from the soldier, his brows furrowed down at me. "You okay? You aren't hurt, right?" He wonders, and I breathe in a sigh, shaking my head. "No, I'm fine, H. Are you okay?" I breathe, and he nods, my head briefly forgetting about the Nomu before Eijiro turns, swiftly pushing me out from under him and off to the side. My eyes take this moment to glance up, seeing the Nomu had lost its fist in from the impact, its jagged and sharp jaws opening as to rip below rips through it. And with me slightly out of the way, it charged forward again, now obviously angry. This time Kirishima braces the attack, bringing his hand up into an X position to block while the creature forces him back. I cover my eyes as grass and dirt fly, and when I open them again, I see the Nomu had forced Kirishima through a couple of trees before disappearing over the short ledge. From the opening I was left in, I immediately go to follow, my foot tripping over some object on the floor and nearly causing me to fall. With a short grunt of annoyance, I glance down at what I assumed to be a stick or something. But instead, I met with metal, the rays of sun bouncing off of it causing a shine. But I didn't have time to just sit around and stare. The sound of the fight continued as I grabbed the hilt of Kirishima's sword, dropped, carrying it with me as for a split to the edge. From below, the Nomu slams the soldier into the ledge's side, causing it to shake beneath my feet and nearly making me fall over again. It's focused on Kirishima. Without a second thought, I leap from the edge, both hands clasped around the hilt of the soldier's weapon with the blade aimed straight down for the Nomu's exposed brain.